Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Hope you're doing great wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. I want to talk to you today about something that may be on your mind as we've had to get a little bit creative in the last year or so about how to make money and how to perhaps turn our hobbies into a business. I was reading some statistics the other day that in the United Kingdom at least, the number of new businesses that have been opened in this last year during the pandemic is twice as much as the year before. So people are realizing that the way we work is shifting and that people are not now looking necessarily for a job outside of their home. They're maybe not looking for something that's temporary or part-time. There's something that they need more in their lives. And it is a matter of money, but it's also a matter of passion and purpose as we get a little older. So I want to talk to you today about how you might consider turning your hobbies, the things that you love to do, into a business and making some money, which is going to obviously help during this transitional time that we're all dealing with. So Carol Stanley, one of our bloggers, wrote this article, and I really appreciated the methodical way she went through this. Now, as you know, I've actually started two businesses in my life, and I'll tell you a little bit about both of them as we go through, because I made a lot of mistakes in the first one, and I made several in the second one, 60 and Me. But all along, I did follow the process that Carol has outlined here. It was maybe the first one was perhaps something that I had thought about for many, many years, and I wanted to do out of a passion as much more than my head. Like my heart was controlling the decisions rather than my head. That was a business I had in Seattle called Passion for India, and that was a fabric store. I sold Indian textiles and home decor, accessories, scarves, things that I loved, and that was what drove me to start that business and to open a retail store and sell the things that I loved. I think the only thing I didn't stop to consider was the money I was spending on putting the shop together. I had to sell an awful lot of scarves and bedspreads and curtains in order to pay that back and pay the rent. So I didn't go through a process of the financial analysis as much as I could have. And I say that openly and honestly because I learned so much from it. And the business went for 4 years. We actually stopped because of 9/11, where just about everything shut down in Seattle, and it was time. But that was one example. And then the second one, of course, is 60 and Me. And I'll talk a bit more about that one later because it happened 15 years later, and I was a different person. But anyway, the first thing, if you've got a hobby, so what's a hobby? Is it something that you love to do? Is it cooking? Is it making jewelry? Is it, I might make beads like I do. Is it, is it something like, quilting or more, craft related? Is it something pottery or maybe a service that is a skill that you have that's not, sort of visible? It's not a tangible skill. It's something that's intangible, a knowledge that you have to share, and that may be your hobby. You may enjoy doing that. It could be something like painting. It could be a craft that you've always wanted to do. But now, how do you turn that into a business? Well, of course, you've got to choose a product or make a product or offer a service that somebody wants to pay money for. And that's, I think, the first thing that you need to assess. And that is, the research starts, right? I mean, you're full of ideas, full of passion, full of good intentions, and you just got it all down. You know this is going to work. You love it. You love it. Everyone else is going to love it, right? Well, not so much. The first thing to do, and I did this a little bit with Passion for India, was look at the competition. Look who else is selling the product or services that you want to sell. Now, if you've got online technology skills, that's going to be a big asset to you because you can immediately find out by typing in the words that you would type in. For example, necklaces made out of, crystal stones or whatever the item is that you're selling. Type it into the Google or Bing, and you'll find that there's others doing that. Go to Etsy or go to some of the craft stores if that's the type of product that you want to sell. Just see who else is selling them. A friend of mine was going to do tie-dye clothing, and that's another whole area, upcycling and recycled clothing. A lot of people that have got sewing skills can do amazing things with that ability. But when you type in who is selling tie-dye t-shirts or tie-dye clothing, you'll see who else is doing it and how they're doing. and how much they are charging for their products. So I think looking into the pricing, and don't forget the delivery charges. Now, of course, right now, as I'm recording this, we're in the middle of this pandemic, and sending items overseas to certain countries is really difficult. So if you're thinking of making an item or a product that you're going to have to sell, think about how heavy it is, how much it's going to cost to send. Are there going to be any restrictions? For example, if you're going to make tea bags, you're going to make some kind of herbal teas, or you want to sell something that you love making with supplements or medicines, be really careful, of course, that you can send those things to different countries where you think your audience might be. Now, of course, the fact that we're online and selling things across the world is wonderful, because you have an audience. Your customer is no longer just in your backyard or in your city or town. That customer can be anywhere in the world, so it's really important but you look at the whole spectrum. Now, the other thing is to look at what the demand is for your item. And you can look at the other sites that are selling this product or service, and you can say, yeah, that's a really successful site, or I know that business and I know they're doing really well. Now, with me, with Passion for India, my products were totally unique, because at that time the India thing hadn't really taken off. But I was aware that Pottery Barn and other big shops were starting to sell Indian goods, and I knew that they were going to underprice, because mine were handcrafted and theirs were made in factories. So, I knew from the beginning there was going to be a challenge with that, but you just sometimes let your passion leap ahead. And sometimes that's okay. You've got to have hope and passion and be determined, but you've got to also be down to earth and realistic. So, demand. How would you deal with your product if you were asked to sell 100 of them? If you're making something that's kind of homemade and special, how would you deal with bulk orders if you got those? Look at the whole demand situation, who wants it, where they are, what their demographic is. And I think we talk about a product, demographic, the avatar, the typical person who's going to buy. Now, don't be fooled into thinking that it's the person that you are. And this is where 60andMe came in, because I thought when I started 60andMe that everybody was like me. And that's what you do. Like, you think, well, I'm a 60-year-old woman. I'm having challenges adapting to that new lifestyle. And I like to travel, or I like to cruise. That's what everybody else wants to do. And so it took us a lot of years to listen and watch and just take feedback. And then you can diversify your online product or your service, whatever it is. If it's a blog, you can make money, for example, from blogging. And so that's another thing. We've written some articles about that, but just make sure that you don't assume that everybody who's going to be your customer, in quotes, your visitor, is going to be just like you. That's not the case. Budget. Look at budget. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I spent way too much money on setting up my beautiful store, because it was my dream. I spent, I bought a camel cart, and I bought beautiful decorative pieces, and I didn't need to. I just needed to sell scarves. But it's okay. So how much you will need to make samples? Like, if you've got a budget, you're going to sell necklaces. Say you're going to make necklaces, or you're going to make pots and cups, and you need to make some samples. Do you have the budget to do that? And what are you going to do? How are you going to develop the product and cost it, so you know exactly what you're spending on the materials, and then what you've got to sell it, the item at, in order to make a 40, 50, whatever percent profit that you want to make. And don't forget, your time comes into this. When I say mark something up 50%, that sounds like a lot. But if it's taking you 2 hours to make each one of these items, and your time is worth $15 an hour, that means your profit is only 20. See how good I'm at math? This is why I didn't do so well with some things. But anyway, the next thing is, then, after you've done your budgeting, you've looked at your shipping, you've looked at all your costs, and you've looked at your demand, competition, then you say to yourself, well, is this going to work? Does anybody actually want to buy this? Get active on social media. Just go online, go on to Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, of course, and Twitter, all those places, and just ask. Just put pictures up, do videos if you have the ability. Everyone has the ability to do video. I know it's scary, and people say, no, I don't want to do videos. Trust me, videos are your friend, and they are just a way to connect face to face with someone, and it's just such a powerful, powerful vehicle. Check all the things you might need, like a checklist, your brochures, your business cards, your samples, as I mentioned, and just make it easy for people to buy. Do a test. There are some sites like Zazzle and Cafe Press. I'm thinking of some Redbubble. They will do things like take your image or your item, and either they will sell it, they will make it for you and then sell it on. And there's lots of different ones for jewelry as well. But the secret here is to get support. Look for the help. By the way, I do make a note here. I put up product safety. Make sure that you always address this, that if you've got a product that's got items that are small pieces that a child might eat or, get into any kind of danger, be really, really sure that you mark that in your documentation, in your labeling, so that no one has any doubt that, you just do not give these to children. They're not for kids. Or, just safety in general. Glues that you use, different perfumes that you might use. If you're doing teas, things you might be adding that could be allergic to, someone could be allergic to. Insurance is another thing. This article, by the way, by Carol is very comprehensive, and I don't want to go into every single item, but go ahead and find that space in your house where you can work. Look for craft shows, swap meets online, where you can actually test your product. And trust me, there are lots and lots of women and men that are doing this, and you can get some amazing support and feedback. Ask them, what you could do better. If you've got a couple of friends that will sample, all the better. But I don't know, I just think it's a really fun, I'm an entrepreneur by nature, so I'm always looking for the next adventure. But have you thought about turning your hobby into a business? And if you've done it, tell us about it. Tell us the challenges you had, maybe the mistakes you made, the things you learned. But if you're thinking of turning your hobby into a business, leave the comments in the section below. Let's chat, and we can help each other. That's kind of what we're here for at 60andMe. Now, if you found this video useful and you'd like to hear more as they come out published, please subscribe to the channel. Just press that button that says subscribe. Next to it is a bell. Ring the bell, and you'll be told when new videos are published. I just do them here on YouTube. I don't publish them or produce them on Facebook or any other channels. So this is where you would find other videos like this if you enjoyed it. Thank you again, everybody, for your support and for being here. Tell us about your adventures with hobbies and businesses, and look forward to hearing and joining in the conversation. Okay, take very good care, everybody. Talk again soon. Bye-bye.